Greetings, body. Welcome to Kai and Y. I have some carrot coconut cake. Welcome to Kai and Y, and we must discuss so much astronomy. There's a lot going on, a lot of conversation regarding UFOs, UAPs. So we're gonna get right into it. Appreciate you coming through. All right, so I put a poll in the chat too. Do you believe that UFOs are real? So do you believe that they exist, and are they coming for us? I've been listening to a lot of the meetings for the Congressional floor. I'm going to play some of that. And finding out too recently that not only do they feel, at least some people in science, NASA, and that are talking with Congress, feel that UFOs do exist, and that they did find a lifeless extraterrestrial body. Some of these things we've heard, but we haven't seen. And I think they're forced to tell us now because there's so many sightings. I'm going to share screen in just a moment. Oh, and there's another story out too. It's old, but it's referencing possible UFO activity. So it's I know it's making me think back on certain stories, and there's an audio I want to play too that possibly had a UFO connection.
I know.
They listed it as flocks of UFOs have flooded people's areas. Now, this is footage. This is the latest I've seen. I'm trying to look and see if it was Idaho or was it Indiana. Hold on a second, and then I'll pull that up. And then go back to the Roswell story. This was the latest I seen. This was from October 25th of this year, 2024. And that's where they had people and families coming outside seeing sightings in the sky, and they're not able to identify what they're seeing. This here was Roswell incident, where it's a conspiracy theory that alleges that the 1947 United States Army Air Forces balloon debris recovered was actually a crash of extraterrestrial spacecraft in New Mexico, near Roswell, New Mexico. It's a disturbing story. There is audio that I want to play, and it's their description of how they found the bodies. There was about 9 deceased bodies of scientists. So what I'm doing is just doing some of the newest and then some older information on UFOs that we've seen, or at least that we have information on. In the meantime, I'll check and see if we got some votes in. I just started just maybe a couple of minutes ago. And I'm going to play the audio at least so that you can hear what this is being narrated.
Flesh in his mouth. There was no apparent cause. A heads up. This episode contains some gruesome and graphic moments. The rescue team was baffled. They couldn't make any sense of the scene. How had these 5 hikers died? And where were the other 4 bodies? It was February 1959 at an icy mountain pass near Siberia. 9 hikers had gone missing there recently, and the rescuers arrived to find 5 bodies scattered about. Some burned, some nearly naked. One had human flesh in his mouth. There was no apparent cause of death, and all 9 hikers were quite experienced. So why had they abandoned their tent and run half naked into the forest? Had there been an accident? Were they attacked? No one knew. And for 6 decades, those unanswered questions provoked fierce debate and dark conspiracy theories among locals. The Russian equivalent of Roswell. Last year, however, scientists finally determined what happened at that snowy mountain pass. It's a strange tale involving cadavers and a Disney movie. But at long last, we know why those burned, naked, and very dead bodies turned up in the Siberian wasteland. From the Science History Institute, this is Sam Keane and the Disappearing Spoon, a topsy-turvy, science-y history podcast, where footnotes become the real story.
That's a glimpse of some of the things that have been going on. Also, they just recently spoke on the UFOs, and they're saying specifically that the different shapes of these UFOs give us different experiences. I know of an experience where a lot of people have said, well, the people have said to have come in contact with UFOs and that they would freeze in place. They're not able to speak. They're not able to do anything at all. That's been the most common experience that I've seen, heard of, directly from the person alleging that they had the experience. There's a few different shapes that they're saying these UFOs come in. One of them is in the thumbnail, like here. So actually possibly two, because the one at the top is similar to the triangular shape that they describe. The other is known to be like a disc. The other is known to be a cube. So we have a cube, disc shape, and triangular shape. I think it's interesting. Please be encouraged to share your thoughts, whether you catch this live or a replay. It does have an effect on all of us, doesn't matter where you are. Russia, the U.S., some other places too. They've had a sighting in Florence, Italy. I want to show some things that the United States is just now mentioning, and they're out about it and releasing some of this footage, at least to the public, so that we can see and possibly weigh in on what's going on.
Pentagon about unidentified flying objects. There were hundreds of new reported sightings over the last year, and some the government still can't explain. Chief Global Affairs Correspondent Martha Raddatz joins us with the details. It's quite the talker. Martha, good morning.
Good morning, Whit. It does. It all sounds straight out of a science fiction movie, but these unidentified airborne objects are taken very seriously by the Pentagon and the intelligence community. And this morning, their new report revealing that these sightings are on the rise.
Navy pilots have seen them.
My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west.
More than 1,600 unidentified flying objects have been reviewed by the government's Anomaly Resolution Office, or ARROW, over the years. 98% of them eventually found to be debris, drones, or even large birds. But new numbers this morning from May of 2023 to June of 2024 show 757 new sightings, with 21 of them that cannot be explained. And all 21 mysterious objects were seen near national security sites, witnessed by multiple people, or captured on sensors or videos. While the Pentagon does not know what they were, they are quick to steer the public away from little green men.
To date, the department has discovered no verifiable evidence of extraterrestrial beings, activity, or technology.
But at a hearing this week, the former head of the Pentagon program investigating these objects says nothing should be ruled out.
Has the government conducted secret UAP crash retrieval programs, yes or no?
Yes.
Were they designed to identify and reverse engineer alien craft, yes or no?
Yes. Let me be clear. Advanced technologies not made by our government or any other government are monitoring sensitive military installations.
While Pentagon officials do stress that they have no evidence of any of this being alien technology, they have not ruled that out and are continuing to investigate every unexplained sighting. George?
Always raises so many questions. Okay, Martha, thanks.
If I say immaculate constellation.
Turning to the new report now from the Pentagon about unidentified flying objects.
If I say immaculate constellation, I'll be on some list. Maybe a FISA warrant. So come at me, bro, I guess.
I think.
Peace. All right, can you hear me? All right, so I'm just going to show some more, and then in between, I'm just giving commentary based on some findings that I was seeing, and the whole things that are adding to theories. Or do you still consider it just a conspiracy theory? Do you worry with this new information? Do you feel like it's about time that they got this information out? Also, politics does play a role in this, somewhat obviously. The other thing is, are these findings really other countries spying on each other? So that's what they've been thinking in the back of their minds also. A lot of people don't want to believe that there is life out there. So they are considering also that it could be spies, because it seems pretty ironic that most of the sightings that are of the UFOs or UAPs are found around military bases.
I think that what the American people need to know is that the U.S. military and intelligence community are sitting on a huge amount of visual and other information, still photos, video photos, other sensor information, and they have for a very long time. And it's not those fuzzy photos and videos that we've been given. There's very clear
High res.
images, high resolution.
How many visuals, graphics, videos, photos?
I mean, I've been told hundreds, maybe thousands.
All right, Michael Schellenberger joins me now. Great to have you here. Just on what you were just saying in your testimony, have you actually seen these high-res images of these UFOs, or have you just been told they exist?
No, I have not seen anything other than what's been released before and some of the things that you showed. But I have spoken, it's not just to a single source, but multiple sources that say that these databases exist. And as the report that was released today by Congresswoman Nancy Mace, the chairwoman of the committee, that report actually links those images, both the still images and the video images, with some of the psychological and physical effects of different shaped UAPs. I think that's one of the most interesting things that came out of the hearing.
Which was what? The different shapes?
Well, yeah, and the sort of analysis that connects different UAP shapes to different experiences that people report and having contact with them.
So as you just heard right there, the different shapes of the UFOs are having a different effect on people's experiences. So that's one of the latest things, the most interesting things that came out from the congressional meeting that they had just days ago, this past week. I want to show some more snippets of that. It is an open chat room. Feel free to weigh in on any of this or what your thoughts are. I think that this is just the beginning too of us seeing more. Some of that's obvious, but also because of Trump being in office, as soon as he took office, a lot of people don't realize, but he right away wants to get more information out that has been kept secret between the Earth and how it's impacted by some things that have been going on in space, such as UFOs and UAPs.
So you're seeing really the marriage. The idea here is that the Immaculate Constellation, which is an unacknowledged special access program, actually has the analysis that combines both the human experiences, but also the physical characteristics of these craft or these UAP.
So we just heard Lou Elizondo, when questioned, say under oath, say, yes, there's a program that exists for a secret program that exists. And yes, they have managed to get crashed aircraft and take the remains of that aircraft to study. When we first heard David Grush here on News Nation, he did it for the first time, say that this program existed, everybody thought he was crazy. And, then slowly, more people, they keep coming up with the same story.
So now people that thought they were crazy, more is coming out. It's almost 100 of y'all in here that have actually stuck around too for some of this. Whether you're into science or whatever it is, it does have effect. It helps to hit the like button though. It's just right there. Appreciate the votes. Are UFOs real and stalking us? I've asked. 41% of y'all said yes, they are real and they're stalking us. 41% said no. And 18%, which is the least, saying yes, they exist, but they're not stalkers. And I'll check back in on the vote thing in a little while.
The same reporting, something you yourself say you have also confirmed. And yet the Pentagon just stands there and says it doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I think it's also, there's one concern, which is a legitimate concern, which is that there may be circular reporting here where, in other words, you might be getting from one source, you might think you have a second source, but if that second source gets it from the same first source, I'm confident that that did not happen in my reporting on Immaculate Constellation. I have multiple sources and also sources that came forward after my report I also reported on a pretty stunning description of orbs, one orb coming out of the ocean about 20 miles off the coast of Kuwait, being joined by another orb, high definition video shot from a helicopter, not any sort of top secret technology filming that. So I just think there's a lot of people that have come forward now at this point that this is not circular reporting. This is not just folklore. The Pentagon is clearly covering something up. I mean, you don't even need this report. I mean, both President Trump and former President Barack Obama have both stated that they've seen information that's not been released. And I just think the Pentagon is treating us like children.
Well, this live stream is live, to answer your question. What he's stating is what I just mentioned, Trump, but yeah, also Obama, didn't mean to leave him out, were two of the main presidents that want a lot of this information to come out to us. They've been holding it back a lot. But now I think the real reason that they've been coming out with it in recent years is because we may possibly see sightings. If in fact these are from wherever they're from, they're unidentifiable. So I think that's what's pushing them to tell us anyway, because it'll help with awareness, at least, instead of just hiding it. If there's more sightings, they have to basically tell us. But with Trump in office, also, he's pushing right now, he's pulling files, they just said, so that there's more information comes out and is made available to the public. Also, the sightings that seem to be, like I said, near military bases makes one think that it has to do with spying, possibly to do with foreign affairs. But the fact that they're saying they're in the ocean, they're seeing sightings hitting the ocean. That's a lot of times where our spacecraft ends. We want it to hit the ocean area rather than on land for the most part, because then that's a safer landing. So that also can possibly speak to the intelligence of whoever is controlling these spacecrafts on where they're landing and what they're doing when they get here.
It's a very paternalistic attitude. They just need to release the information, obviously redact stuff to make sure that nothing gets out to our enemies, but we're long overdue for this sort of disclosure and transparency to occur.
Michael, what do you think, based on all of your investigative reporting, the Pentagon is doing with this reverse engineering program? Are they looking at some sort of weapon, at some sort of defense system?
I mean, that's my understanding of it, is that it's, that it would make sense that the military, if it's capturing some sort of material or some sort of craft, that they'd be looking to, turn it into some sort of weapon, or, whether or defensive. I honestly don't know. And I also don't know what UAPs are, and I don't claim to know. But I'm very confident that the Pentagon and the intelligence community are hiding a lot of information about UAPs. I think that's very well established at this point. I mean, we have a lot of evidence and a lot of people, including heads of state, former heads of the United States, that have said that. Former intelligence community officials, both on the right and the left. I mean, this was an incredibly bipartisan group today. So I think that there's been a lot of questions about, like, what are UAPs? And that's fascinating. And of course, that's important. But it's well established now that the military and the intelligence community are hiding a significant amount of data that they have an obligation under the Constitution to report to Congress. And I think they also have a moral obligation, and perhaps a legal one as well, to make that information available to the public.
Well, thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click.
That was some of a recap from News Nation. Also, the congressional floor has been really lit with this conversation and setting off a lot of interviews. I'm going to show some of that right now.
Email a Navy secure network from the operations officer of U.S. Fleet Forces Command. The email is addressed to all the subordinate commanders, and the subject line read in all capital letters, "Urgent Safety of Flight Issue." The text of the email was brief but alarming, with words to the effect, "If any of you know what these are, tell me ASAP. We are having multiple near mid-air collisions, and if we do not resolve this soon, we are going to have to shut down the exercise." Attached to the email is what is now known as the Go Fast video, captured on the forward-looking infrared sensor of one of the Navy F-18 aircraft participating in the exercise. The now declassified video showed an unidentified object exhibiting flight and structural characteristics unlike anything in our arsenal. The implication of the email was clear. The author was asking whether any of the recipients were aware of classified technology demonstrations that could explain these objects. Because the DoD policy is to rigorously deconflict such demonstrations with live exercises, I was confident this was not the case. The very next day, that email disappeared from my account and those of the other recipients without explanation. Moreover, the commander of Fleet Forces Command and the operations officer never discussed the subject.
So as you just heard right there, Dr. Gallender, right? His emails have been erased. Now, another thing when it comes to our electronic devices, nothing is totally deleted. But we're dealing with people on the other end. So it's going to be difficult in certain ways like this to hold on to the information. So as we even see things sometimes lively broadcasted, it would be good to possibly already be recording things, because they're going to be erasing it. This almost starting to feel like Men in Black, like they want stuff to just disappear. But as you heard right from his mouth, he has exclusive information and he feels that he was entitled to it too, or when it came to him, and then it's gone. I'm going to show some more of the congressional floor. Thanks for the comments and the votes on the poll. I don't know if I should call it votes, but weigh in. Got over 50 votes, 51. My question is, are UFOs real and stalking us? 41% is the most, and you guys are saying yes. Ladies and gentlemen, 31% are saying no. 27% are saying yes, but they're not stalkers. Okay. Thanks to the few that did take a quick second to hit the like button, because obviously you're okay with what I'm showing, whether you're aware of it or not, and I'm giving commentary on it too at the same time. So it is appreciated if you could at least do that. Feel free to share your thoughts in the chat. Thank you.
And nearly all of humanity's scientific breakthroughs. This is why the study of UAPs should be embraced, since whatever is occurring, the chance to garner new knowledge should never be ignored. We must be thorough in collecting information, fearless in making conclusions, and open to following the data, no matter how mundane or extraordinary the results may be. I began this testimony by praising the Joint Subcommittee members for their courage, and I will end by echoing that sentiment. As the saying goes, the truth is out there. We just need to be bold enough and brave enough to face it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all. I will now recognize myself for 5 minutes of questioning. I have a lot of questions and I have a lot of witnesses. So I would just ask, if it's yes or no, to please just tell me yes or no. If it requires more than that, be very succinct, because I would like to go down the line and ask as many questions as possible. So for the Admiral this morning first, former DoD official Chris Mellon reached out to you about satellite imagery from 2017 that depicts a UAP. What were the dates in 2017 when this occurred?
I can't share with you the details, ma'am, but I can do it in a closed setting, and I can also tell you the agency that wrote a report on it.
Okay, so who has the imagery?
I can tell you that in a closed setting.
Can you describe what was depicted in the satellite imagery? Just a description.
It was a UAP, ma'am.
That's it? No other description?
The term that the analysts used, they call it the button. It was a disc-shaped object.
Okay, where was it?
I can't tell you that, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Okay, Mr. Elizondo, you state in your testimony that, quote, advanced technologies not by our government or any other government are monitoring sensitive military installations around the globe, end quote. If these technologies are not made by any government, who's making them? Private companies, or are you implying they are crafted by a non-human intelligence?
Well, ma'am, that's precisely why we're here. The problem is that, temporally speaking, over decades, not just the last 10 years, To put this in perspective,
Are these private companies you're implying, or is this non-human intelligence?
it may be both.
Okay.
When it comes to Blue Force Technologies, I would not be able to discuss.
Okay.
them unless-
Are you read into secret UAP crash retrieval programs?
We would have to have a conversation in a closed session, ma'am. I signed documentation 3 years ago that restricts my ability to discuss specifically crash retrievals. I submitted for my book through the DOPSR process, which took a year for it to be reviewed. And what is in the book is what I was told I'm allowed to talk about.
Has the government conducted secret UAP crash retrieval programs? Yes or no?
Yes,
Okay. Were they designed to identify and reverse engineer alien craft? Yes or no?
yes.
Does the U.S. government have any reverse? Okay, we've already answered that question about retrieval programs. Do any U.S. contractors have the same?
I would prefer to address it in a closed session, ma'am.
Okay. In your book, you mentioned government employees who've been injured by UAPs, placed on leave, and receiving government compensation for their injuries. Is that correct?
That is correct.
How can the government deny we have recovered craft if they're paying people because they've been injured by recovered craft?
Ma'am, that's a great question. That's why I think we're here again, because I've seen the documentation by the U.S. government for several of these individuals who have sustained injuries as a result of a UAP incident.
It's a crazy idea, right? The hypocrisy and the logic. Okay, Mr. Schellenberger, I'm going to say it again to be very clear. Immaculate Constellation. What's its mission and how are they funded?
Its mission is to, as I stated, its mission is to, it's an unacknowledged special access program. Its mission is to document UAPs.
Okay, and do you, for your story and your report, do you have more than one credible source?
I do.
Sourcing, okay.
I do.
And then why do you believe your sources to be credible? How do you judge the veracity of the documentation you've been provided about this program?
I checked the sources and they are who they say they are. They are current or former government officials.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to also add that I did not specify that they were Defense Department employees. I didn't specify the agency nor the gender.
Would they have included non-government employees, people that aren't employed by the government?
These are, I'm comfortable saying that these are government or previously government employees.
Any of them currently employed by a private contractor or private contractors?
I'd rather not say.
Okay. What's the key takeaway, just a few seconds, about the Immaculate Constellation document you provided us today?
I think that what the American people need to know is that the U.S. military and intelligence community are sitting on a huge amount of visual and other information, still photos, video photos, other sensor information, and they have for a very long time. And it's not those fuzzy photos and videos that we've been given. There's very clear
high
resolution.
How many visuals, graphics, videos, photos?
I mean, I've been told hundreds, maybe thousands. I mean, I also wanted to say, because there was some conversation around concern around the revealing of these materials, revealing the source collections, but some of these are shot from helicopters using normal videos of oceans. I just think that's absurd that somehow you're going to be revealing some secret U.S. technology by revealing that you've photographed orbs off the coast of Kuwait.
Okay, thank you. I have 8 seconds. Mr. Gold, did the NASA independent study team get briefed on what you call OSAP? Very quickly.
I flagged the Advanced Aerospace Weapons System Certification Program to our chair and our DFO. We did not get briefed, but I believe it is definitely worth looking into. That was probably the largest UAP review effort ever, and I think produced a lot of interest data, including revealing Nimitz. I don't know if my fellow witness Lou might want to, he did yeoman's work on it, might want to comment.
Okay. All right, I'm going to turn to Mr. Moskowitz, who will be recognized for 5 minutes of questioning.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. So, Mr. Gold, you gave a whole diatribe for a couple of minutes about UAPs, science, data collection, stigma. A lot of non-believers in all of this would just ask a very simple question. Why? Why is it so hard? Right? Like, why are people, anytime they ask, why are they always thwarted? Why are they always judged? Why is they always have misinformation spread? Why is there always retribution? Why is it always met with an ear? What's the why? If it doesn't exist, why is it such a problem?
I think if you go through the history of science, Representative, it is always difficult for breakthroughs in new information, regardless of whether it's UAP or any other kind of discovery. And in science, we're supposed to be open, but when you break with the orthodoxy of what's believed, whether it's Galileo saying that the Earth doesn't rotate, or the Earth rotates around the sun, or the sun doesn't rotate around the Earth. It's always challenging for new beliefs. And the more extraordinary those discoveries, then the more extraordinary those new beliefs, it's very difficult. So I think this is natural. There's natural conservatism that when it comes to science, but this issue in particular has been very difficult, where again, even to attempt to study it becomes problematic. But every hearing like this, every news report, every video, documentaries. I was privileged to be part of something Dan Fair is putting together. I think many of us have interviewed for it, documentary over 30 different government officials. Every brick in the wall will help get us closer to getting to the truth.
I appreciate that. Mr. Elizondo, did I have that correct?
Sir.
I'm a recovering lawyer, so I'm going to put my hat on for a second. You said you signed a document. Love that. Who gave that to you?
The U.S. government, sir.
Okay, you have a copy of it?
It is stored in the SCIF right now. I do not have possession of it. The U.S. government does.
What department of the U.S. government gave you this document?
I will say the Department of Defense. Unfortunately, I can't say in this forum much more than that.
You specifically said the document said you can't talk about crash retrieval. Well, you can't talk about Fight Club if there's no Fight Club.
Correct.
Okay, I'm just making an observation.
Yes, sir.
So that document that you signed, that you said exists, specifically said you can't talk about crash retrieval.
Correct, sir. It was a limitation on what because
All right, that's about the bulk of a lot of the information that just got released. Just wanted to get right to the points. Just like the women that asked the questions, she asked a lot of questions that I think that we wanted to know as well. Who knows what, basically? Where are we getting the information from? Did you see more realistic images? And if so, where? From who? So there's a lot they can't say, but I think that this is the most ever in history that the public has been let in on this type of information. Thanks for the votes. There's over 100 on the question. I appreciate those that did take the half a second to just hit the like button. That helps. Y'all all in here. Some people didn't know about it, and plus I'm giving informative commentary as well. The question was, are UFOs real and stalking us? 48% said yes. 29% said no. 23% of y'all said yes, but they're not stalkers. So I thank y'all for that. Just got the background of planets and some of the Milky Way and stuff like that going on. You had some interesting thoughts in there. I got a night now over here on my channel. At Tampa Supreme, football as well. They are demonic. Okay. So this has been the latest as far as us seeing the UFOs and the UFAPs. Also UAP. UAP stands for Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena. So what I've been showing is the UFO global hearings, Global News, MSNBC, and it was Live Crooks, but that was another channel. I didn't mean to show that one. And at News Nation. And again, different shaped UFOs are given different experiences based on what's being reported. So that's something that I find very interesting. Are y'all looking forward to possible landings of space voyagers coming here? Do you think it's all made up and nonsense? Hello. Delaware, cool. Someone else said that they think that possibly that they're telling us because they don't want us. That's what I was saying too, that they maybe will be less likely to hurt ourselves or just to be aware at least of it, because if they're seeing more and more sightings, I mean, it seems like it's inevitable that they would have to say something, right? Someone mentioned Bill Cooper and the Project Blue Beam. else? He's an American conspiracy theorist, all right, and radio broadcaster, known for a book called Pale Horse. Okay. All right. I like suggestions too. I may have to check them out. What else? What else are your thoughts on here? UFOs are our tech being used to distract us. Okay, well, that's interesting. Distract us from what? That would be my question. Some of these are from about 15 minutes ago because I was busy doing a presentation to put up. Okay, closed settings, not supposed to be in public. Someone said they believe Saudi Arabia look at the technology of their buildings and the surrounding infrastructure. Interesting. A government that don't answer to the people is a corrupt government. DOD, Energy Department. We'll see. But this is huge. I do astronomy too, here and there on this channel. I like to implement it into information for us, and also, what we have to do with it, what role we play in space, even though we are in space, but we're on our planet. But I think we have a much closer connection than a lot of people realize too. I do appreciate everyone that did come through and share their thoughts. Consider subscribing, hit the like button, chat, leave a comment if you catch the replay too. That's helpful also. And I'm Kai NY, and I'm a amateur astronaut. I thank y'all for coming through too. This does have a huge impact on everyone around the world. So we're going to just be hearing more and more. And we'll see how long it takes for them to just really, break through and just tell us more of what they really know. And not only that, show us. Like they said, we have some fuzzy images that we've seen, things like that. But, go ahead and show us some more. Looks like we got some more weigh-ins also for the question that I put in the chat. So it's mostly still leading with yes. I do feel that UFOs are real and they are stalking us. It was tied. Somebody else just voted. 26% are saying no, they're not real and they're not stalking us. And the 25% of y'all saying yes, but they're not stalkers. All right, so looks like we're at 127 votes. Appreciate y'all participation.
Intelligence Community, Department of Defense. We don't want to broadcast any potential vulnerabilities or weaknesses in our national defense systems or on intelligence collection platforms. Therefore, when you have a conversation where you address a problem for which there is no solution, it makes that a very uncomfortable conversation to have.
Okay, we'll switch to Mr. Schellenberger. The primary reason you're here today is because you published an article on the news publication that you own called Public, right? Alleging that a new unnamed government whistleblower has come forward asserting that a highly classified program exists dedicated to recovery and reverse engineering of UAP technologies. What can you give us what specific evidence you have or that your source provided you to substantiate the claims about the existence of the Immaculate Constellation program?
Well, you have the report in front of you now, so you can see it for yourself. I checked the report and I did not find it based on existing cases. It was new cases for me. I hadn't found anybody. So that answered for me that it was not obviously circular reporting, which is one of the big concerns in this space. I also had the name of the program confirmed by more than one additional source. So yeah, and then of course I checked to make sure that the source was who they claimed to be.
Okay.
I should also say that when I said before it was this database, it is a much broader program than that. It also includes human intelligence, and then, as you mentioned, the retrieval and the
Any knowledge of what country these things originated in?
No, I have no idea.
Okay.
Okay, I will now recognize Mr. Burchett for 5 minutes of questions.
Thanks, Chair Lady. I request unanimous consent to enter into the record documents provided to us regarding legacy UAP programs and psychological operations. Lou Elizondo.
So ordered.
I also want to thank my buddy Jeremy Corbell for providing us documents and access to some whistleblowers. Mr. Elizondo, what is your last position with the federal government?
Sir, I was the Director of National Program Special Management Staff managing a White House Special Access Program on behalf of the National Security Council.
How would you characterize UAPs?
An enigma, sir, and a frustration. We're talking about technologies that can outperform anything we have in our inventory. And if this was an adversarial technology, this would be an intelligence failure eclipsing that of 9/11 by an order of magnitude.
Are there classified Department of Defense materials related to UAPs that you believe could be safely disclosed to the public without compromising national security?
Yes, sir, I do. I would never, ever try to endorse providing some sort of information that could compromise what we call a blue force technology or capability. But I do believe there's a lot of information regarding this topic, and I've been very vocal about it, that should be shared not only with the public, but most importantly, with members of Congress.
Are you familiar with my friend David Grush?
Absolutely, sir. I had the privilege and honor of working with him myself several years ago at U.S. Space Force.
Last year, as you know, he testified that the U.S. has run a multi-decade UAP crash retrieval and reverse engineering program. Would you agree with that?
Yes, sir.
Are there UAP programs operating without proper congressional oversight?
100%.
What are they?
Unfortunately, sir, I would have to have that conversation in a closed session.
I know you said that, and a lot of people are frustrated with those kind of answers, but we're asking those kind of questions so you all know what the heck we're up against. You also mentioned in your opening statement that the Pentagon's Public Affairs Office employs a psychological operations officer as a singular point of contact for UAP-related inquiries. Why the heck would they do that?
Sir, that's a great question. I would ask the Pentagon. There's a long history here of that individual providing misleading and false information to the public through various news outlets and media outlets in order to discredit this topic. I've personally been victim to it. We have the documentation to substantiate where this information has been absolutely inaccurate, that has been provided time and time again. And it turns out that individual was also working with former leadership of Aero at the time as well.
And we punish them by giving them multi-million dollars more than they ask for every year. Admiral Gallaudet, you mentioned in your opening statement on an email you received from the operations officer of the Fleet Forces Command regarding unknown objects almost colliding with U.S. military planes. Did anyone respond with knowledge of what the objects were?
I received no response, sir.
Did the exercise get canceled?
The exercise did not get canceled.
Why do you think the commander of Fleet Forces operations officer never discussed the incident again?
Sir, I'm speculating because I didn't have an exchange with him, but I believed it to be part of a special access program, the information and the video, which we have known now it was. And he realized he couldn't share that openly with the recipients of the email, and therefore the email was pulled from everybody's account.
Again, tell us what happened to the email from the commander of Fleet Forces.
The day after I received it, and all the other recipients received it, which were all the subordinate commanders of U.S. Fleet Forces, so 1- and 2-star admirals, including strike group commanders, the email was wiped or deleted from our accounts.
Okay.
And then no one talked about it.
All right. Have you specifically had any experience with submersible objects?
So I've no personal experience, but I've had witnesses on submarines come to me and say they've seen on sonar data.
Correct. Okay.
Yeah.
How would you characterize those, and how do they move?
The one instance that was revealed to me was in the 80s on a nuclear-powered submarine, a ballistic missile submarine, that the object exhibited the characteristics of a Russian torpedo in terms of its speed of movement, and closing rate with the submarine, and then it slowed and followed the submarine slowly in its wake for a period of minutes, and then rapidly exited the scene. And nothing that we know of and technology-wise could replicate that.
And the speed of these objects was faster than anything that we have or anybody else has that would be manned. Is that correct?
It was on the order
Underwater.
of a torpedo. So
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. But as it exited,
Well, I don't exactly know how fast a torpedo is, but I expect it does better than my old outboard Scott Atwater. So I'll take that as a yes.
Yes,
okay. Have you experienced any experience with the All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, ARROW?
Yes, Congressman. As I mentioned previously, I have met with them.
Okay. You heard Mr. Elizondo describe psychological operations for those contacting the Department of Defense about UAPs. You mentioned a similar influence operation by ARROW. Why are federal agencies invested in running information operations about UAPs if they do not exist?
Yes, sir. But I'll make a statement on ARROW's behalf. They have new leadership. The office has reached out to me to meet again, and I take that as a good faith effort, and we'll see where that goes.
Thank you, Chair Lady. I've run over. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tennessee. I would now like to recognize Mr. Higgins. You're the king of Tennessee. Mr. Higgins, you're recognized for 5 minutes of questions.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Elizondo, Mr. Schellenberger notes in the report that we've been given for this hearing. I believe, Mr. Schellenberger, let me shift you, are the author of this report.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm not the author.
Mr. Schellenberger, were you the author of this report? There's
No, I was
no name
not.
on it.
No.
Do you know the author?
I do.
You do. And how would you estimate that madam or gentleman, the author?
The person is a current or former U.S. government employee.
And it states here that this is the public version of the author's report.
Yes.
So where might one find the non-public version of the author's report?
I don't know the answer to that.
Would that be with the Department of Defense?
I don't know.
But you do know the author.
I do.
You know what the author's sources were?
The author's sources are described in the report. These databases, the Immaculate Constellation.
But you expressed some confidence in the sources.
I would.
Earlier in
I
testimony, you expressed confidence. So do you know those sources?
I do.
Are they within the Department of Defense?
I can't say.
You can't say, or you won't say?
I won't say.
Okay, why not?
Because I protect my sources, and I think the reason.
But you're not naming them. It's a big department. Many of us on my side of the aisle would say it's far too big. So you're talking about the Department of Defense, sources from within the Department of Defense?
I'm not willing to reduce the potential universe of where my sources might be.
Okay, moving on. In this report, Mr. Elizondo, for reference, several types of allegedly alien craft or possibly alien craft or unknown aerial phenomena, what we used to call UFOs, are described. Spheres and orbs, discs and saucers, oval or tic-tac, triangular shape, boomerang and arrowhead, and irregular or organic. Mr. Elizondo, does that summarize to you the types of craft that we're discussing today?
So that is a general morphology, historically speaking, of many UAP.
So those descriptions are very different craft. Is it your assessment that they would come of different origins?
It's possible, but it's also could be in a sense a matter of utility. And let me just say for the record, I never read the report or the article that Mr. Schellenberger put out. The reason
That's a good point. We're just referencing it.
Yes, sir.
For descriptive purposes for the American people. Mr. Schellenberger, in this report, it's just striking to me that regarding the descriptions of experiences with these various craft, several of them include biological effects and several do not. Are you familiar with what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay, so spheres and orbs, triangular craft, and irregular or organic craft includes some descriptions of biological effects, including feelings of unease, electronic device malfunctions, long-term psychological effects such as anxiety or insomnia have been noted, feeling of being watched, a shared awareness with the triangle craft, and under the irregular and organic craft, biological effects include physical sensations of warmth or cold and unexplained smells and psychological distress. So these are very specific descriptions of the reactions of human beings, which allegedly have been noted from a study here, a report. Did all of those experiences would have been described by the sources that the author used?
I'm not sure I understand.
This is a very broad description of biological effects, and it's striking to me that they are present with relation to some types of craft, but absent in others. This would require a great deal of research and study. Can you explain that?
My understanding is that this is the database is very large. It includes both the images, the videos, the still images, as well as the human intelligence, the reports, the raw data from individuals having these experiences. So in answer to your question, yeah, I mean, I think we're looking at a very large amount of data collected over many decades.
And we'll stop there. Yeah. Thanks to the people that did hit like. More of y'all hit like. We could have good discussions over here, but I do go by participation, likes, all that stuff. Simple, easy, quick stuff y'all could do. Y'all don't want to do it, y'all could go on a boring channel then or something where someone doesn't actually research for themselves too. I research, so I have other information to add as well. But anyway, maybe this will spark interest, I'm sure it will, into more of y'all minds for astronomy. If you're interested in other things, including UFOs and the UAPs that we're currently getting more and more information about, consider coming back to my channel. I'm Kai NY. I deal with things that have to do with the community, our energies, spirit, and astros is what I call it, which is astronomy and astrology. Okay. And sometimes things to do with intimacy. So, all right. So that's the type of channel I have here. And again, I'm Kai NY. Appreciate everyone coming through. Yes, I am a amateur astronomer. I'll look back in the comments and brief go over the poll that I set. I will be closing that shortly. Yeah, it's still neck and neck. 28% say no, UFOs are not real and they're not stalking us. 29% are saying yes, they are real, but they're not stalkers. The most is 43%. 43% of you all are mostly saying UFOs are real and yes, they are stalking us. Interesting comments too. Some people feel it's Saudi Arabia, it's other countries. What else? Some people feel it's a distraction. Some of y'all feel like, excuse me. Yeah, just be, respectful in the chat room. Don't ask for much from y'all. All right. Some of y'all feel the government is using it against us. All right. And that is fake. Don't trust the government. All right. There's a lot of distrust for the government too. I see. Cool. A lot of y'all came in. I was like over 500 people at one point. I got to get up and use the bathroom real quick. Yeah, so that's good. And thanks for sharing your information too on here and your thoughts. Yeah. All right. Keep your colons clean too. A lot of y'all may feel constipated. It's a lot going on, and it may have to do with space too. If you do use a laxative, use it because you need it. Take it in small doses at first to see how your body reacts from it. Yes, I know it's something people don't talk about. Maybe if they talk about it more, it won't make you uncomfortable. There's nothing like being bloated and you need to let it out. So I'm just suggesting stay in tune with your bodies out there. There's a lot going on, and yeah, it can affect our bodies. I think a lot of folks are constipated. But not just me lately. No. But all right, again, Kai and Y, appreciate y'all coming through. And see you next time. And maybe next time you do more likes, we could get more out of the show too. I'll stay on longer, have more to show and things like that. But I can go ahead and finish eating my coconut cake too. Pretty good. Pretty good. Until next time, y'all. Peace. Want you to be comfortable with that. So I put Supreme to day one right there. So yeah. Appreciate everyone coming through. Y'all take care. See y'all next time, hopefully. All right, again, peace.